Are air conditioners really bad for the environment? Many people believe that air conditioners are bad for the environment. There are three main reasons for this belief. First, many people think that the refrigerants used in air conditioners damage the ozone layer and contribute to global warming. Second, air conditioners consume a large amount of electricity. And third, because outdoor units blow out hot air, many assume that they make the earth even hotter. But are these beliefs really true? Let's begin with the most visible part of an air conditioner: the outdoor unit. On a hot summer day, standing near an outdoor unit, you can clearly feel a blast of hot air. In reality, an air conditioner does not create heat. It moves heat from one place to another. Its basic function is to absorb heat from inside a building and release it outdoors. Of course, the compressor and fan motor require electricity to operate, and that electrical energy ultimately becomes additional heat. However, most of the heat coming from the outdoor unit is simply the heat that was already inside the building. For that reason, the heat released by an outdoor unit is not, by itself, a cause of global warming. If thousands of outdoor units operate simultaneously in a densely populated city, they can raise the local temperature and contribute to the urban heat island effect. However, an urban heat island and global warming are two very different phenomena. A heat island makes certain parts of a city warmer, while global warming occurs because greenhouse gases trap heat throughout the Earth's atmosphere, raising the planet's average temperature. What about refrigerants? In the past, chlorofluorocarbons, or CFCs, were widely used as refrigerants. Scientists later discovered that CFCs severely damaged the ozone layer, and under the Montreal Protocol, their production and use were phased out worldwide. They were replaced by hydrochlorofluorocarbons, or HCFCs. Although HCFCs are less harmful than CFCs, they still damage the ozone layer and are also being phased out. Some countries still allow limited use of reclaimed or recycled HCFC refrigerants to maintain existing equipment, but newly manufactured air conditioners are steadily moving away from them. Today, most newly produced air conditioners use refrigerants that do not deplete the ozone layer. However, the problem has not disappeared completely. Many of the HFC refrigerants commonly used today do not damage the ozone layer, but some can have a global warming effect far stronger than carbon dioxide if they leak into the atmosphere. As a result, refrigerants with a lower climate impact are becoming increasingly common. At the same time, technologies for refrigerant recovery and recycling continue to improve, and regulations designed to prevent leaks are becoming stricter. Ultimately, the key issue is not the air conditioner itself. It is which refrigerant is used, and how effectively that refrigerant is prevented from leaking into the atmosphere. Now let's turn to the issue of electricity. In fact, the greatest environmental impact of air conditioners today comes from the electricity they consume. Air conditioners are among the most power-hungry household appliances, and on hot summer afternoons, millions of them are running at the same time. This causes electricity demand to surge, placing a heavy burden on power plants and the electrical grid. Power systems are not designed around the average amount of electricity used each day. They must be built to handle peak demand, the moment when electricity consumption reaches its highest level. For that reason, the real issue is not simply that air conditioners use a lot of electricity. The more important problem is that so many people use them simultaneously, dramatically increasing peak demand. One of the best ways to reduce this burden is to use energy-efficient air conditioners. Even while maintaining the same indoor temperature, a more efficient model consumes less electricity, reducing both overall power generation and peak demand. The way electricity is generated also matters. Coal and natural gas-fired power plants emit large amounts of carbon dioxide while producing electricity. By contrast, renewable energy sources such as solar, wind, and geothermal generate electricity with little or no direct carbon dioxide emissions. The more electricity used for air conditioning comes from these low-carbon energy sources, the smaller its environmental impact becomes. However, solar and wind power depend on the weather and the time of day, so their output is not always consistent. That is why energy storage systems play such an important role. By storing surplus electricity when supply exceeds demand and releasing it during periods of peak demand, Energy storage systems can reduce peak loads and make the electrical grid more stable. Ultimately, reducing the environmental impact of air conditioning requires three things working together: highly efficient air conditioners, low-carbon electricity, and advanced energy storage technologies. Finally, we should reconsider one important question. Is air conditioning really nothing more than a luxury that makes life more comfortable? Today, extreme heat causes serious illnesses and claims lives around the world. In hospitals, air conditioning is essential for maintaining safe conditions for both patients and medical staff. For older adults, infants, and others who have difficulty regulating body temperature, proper cooling can literally save lives. Even in ordinary offices and workplaces, excessive heat reduces concentration, impairs judgment, increases fatigue, and makes it difficult to work effectively. In military aircraft, cooling and ventilation are not simply there to keep pilots comfortable. Pilots must remain highly focused for long periods, while wearing heavy flight suits and protective equipment, inside a cramped cockpit. If cockpit temperatures become too high, fatigue builds rapidly, while judgment and reaction time begin to decline. In that sense, air conditioning is essential equipment that allows pilots to perform their missions safely and effectively. In today's world, air conditioning has become far more than a convenience. It is an essential technology for protecting health, ensuring safety, and supporting productive work. In the end, it is an oversimplification to view air conditioners as the enemy of the environment. The heat released by an outdoor unit is not, by itself, a cause of global warming. The CFC and HCFC refrigerants have already been phased out or are steadily disappearing, replaced by more environmentally friendly alternatives. Today, the greatest environmental impact of air conditioning depends on how the electricity it uses is generated and how efficiently that electricity is consumed. Our goal, therefore, should not be to eliminate air conditioning. Instead, we should continue developing technologies that provide the same cooling with less electricity, adopt refrigerants with lower climate impacts, and expand renewable energy and energy storage systems to produce cleaner electricity. The solution is not to give up air conditioning. It is to make it more efficient, more sustainable, and more environmentally friendly. That is one of the most practical solutions we can choose, as extreme heat continues to become more common around the world. Thank you for watching, and see you in the next video.